Hey, nice to meet you. Talk to, it must be your brother. Mel? No, Mel. No. I'll reach out to some questions on that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is public input. As usual, we limit public input to 3 minutes. Is there any public input? Yes, Mr. Glazier.
Yes, Douglas Glazier, 167 Taft Lane. Regarding the property on 52 Church Street for a proposal or thoughts of a senior center there, I read the article in the JI today, and there's some interesting facts about it. I think that based on the public hearing that was on February 6th, everyone, so many got up and talked and say, well, you know, thinking of other properties, other locations, other scenarios, they said, let's not rush into it. Now, I know, Chris, you want to get going on it, I understand, but to rush into it, this is going to be something that's going to be proposed and made to the last seniors for the next 40, 50 years, and it shouldn't be rushed. It should be looked at closely, evaluated carefully if there's other sites. And also it was mentioned in here that you may have Jacuzzi Humes do an evaluation on a needs assessment and a site assessment, and I think that would be excellent, because I know I'm on the committee for the safety upgrade, and they're very, very good. They're very experienced architects, and for them to look into a new senior center, the space needs, and then the site evaluation would be good. They'll give you a way going forward that'll be very professional, very intelligently done, and I recommend that. Now, also in the article, there was something saying, you feel there's a group of people that are voting against you. I kind of don't agree with that, Chris. I really feel people vote according to how they think and feel about situations. I know I do. The way I vote is what I think is always best for the town, and nothing else. The best for the town, both in goods and services and in financing. The second thing I just want to mention is that I saw for the first time, you got a town meeting, there's a town hall vehicle that would be purchased. I haven't been up on everything, so that's the first I read on it. I'm puzzled as to what the dire needs are to have a town hall vehicle that we have to transfer town funds, have a town, who would have access to it? Would there be several people that would have keys to it to use as they need, or what? So those are the two items. I think I'm under my 3 minutes, right?
You're pretty good.
Yeah, you are.
So I know we got a lot of people here who may want to speak, but I agree with everything you said about taking our time on the purchase. I certainly don't intend to make any motion tonight that we purchase 52 Church Street. If that was, I'm not familiar with the article, I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure what that's all about. The Jacuzzi Humes will be discussed. That proposal will be discussed tonight. I think it's wise. I think at the public hearing, we talked about going that route to make sure we do a needs analysis and a site analysis, including a lot of the sites that were suggested at that meeting. So, you know, that's where I am on the whole thing.
Okay.
I may have personal opinions about whether that particular site is a good opportunity or not,
Right.
but that's just one opinion of me alone. But in my role as first selectman, I think everything you said is accurate.
Okay.
As far as the car is concerned, we had 2 cars, one died. We're just trying to replace the one we had. Is there any other public input?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Campbell, 24 Center Street. I think what needs to be looked at and thought about going forward on this is that once there is an updated, new whatever senior center, there's going to be increased usage. So we can't limit ourselves to something might do now, but it has to look forward. And I too was a little disturbed by some of the comments at the end of the article in today's paper.
What does it say? I'm just curious. What does it say?
Do you want me to read it?
No.
No? Is it bad?
You can read it when you get home.
Is it bad?
What bothers me is that I don't want this to become a political football. This should not have anything to do with politics. It's not one politician against another or one party against another. This is about the senior citizens
That's what's causing the problem.
in Windsor Locks and what's best for them. And it has nothing to do with politics.
Oh, well, it
We've
does.
got enough division.
I think
in
it does
this-
with a very small percentage of the population, and I still believe that. I think there's certain people that oppose that concept for no other reason than the fact that I proposed it. But that
That's
is
gotta be a
not
small percentage though.
an extremely small percentage of people.
Okay.
And if something other than that came across in the
Okay,
article,
but
that's
I think the
unfortunate.
majority of the people that, because I was at that meeting, I think the majority of those people, regardless of their party affiliation, opposed this location because it may not be suitable and it may end up being too small going forward and for a lot of other reasons. And I've looked at that property front, back, and forward because I walk around that area a lot. And it's just, it has nothing to do with politics. I'm looking forward. I'm a volunteer at the senior center, and whatever we put in to upgrade is going to mean an increase in usage, and we have to be mindful of that.
Thank you. Is there any other public input? Yes.
Joanne Casella, Woodridge Drive. I want to talk about the Travel Lodge. They had another event Friday night, and we heard music until 3 in the morning, very loud. I don't understand why it's still being allowed to have events like this. They have another one scheduled for this Saturday. They have another one scheduled for the following Saturday. It's supposed to be a hotel. It's like turning into a club. Every weekend there's a, and we shouldn't, it's disrupting neighborhoods, and we shouldn't have to listen to that till 2, 3, 4 in the morning whenever they decide to stop. I don't know how many people were there. I didn't go down there this time, but the music went on until 3 o'clock. It started at 11, it started off and on like 9, 10, a little bit here. I think they were testing the music maybe, but it started at 11 and went through till 3 o'clock.
And that is on the agenda for later this evening, with it including a report from the police department. Yes, Ms. Stegman.
Gail Stegman, 308 South Center Street. I wanted to touch base on the travel lodge as well. I was awake again till after 3, sick all day Saturday because of being held awake by the boom, 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 boom. I mean, and it doesn't let up. And I think it's very unfair, and I think it's very unfair that I feel that when we go to the different commissions to take care of this, including here, I feel like we're getting the runaround. And I know that our commissions and our boards most of them are volunteer, and I understand that. But somebody's gotta help us. This end of town has got an issue. And when ASV comes in, or somebody else comes in, we have to be able to continue to live down that end of town. And it's not fair to us that we keep we're like the can that people just keep kicking to another department. And that's not fair. And somebody has to take this. I'm not being paid, my husband's not being paid to do this. And I'm very upset about this. And I'm the one that's staying awake. And I don't think anybody sitting here would like us sitting in front of their house with a boombox till 3 o'clock in the morning. There has to be some kind of a correction done. I don't know where the buck stops, but it sure and heck shouldn't stop with us.
Any other public input? Seeing, Mr. Russo.
William Rousseau, 407 Elmwood Drive. I'd like to follow up on what Doug Glazier had to say. Last selectman meeting, I believe there was some discussion perhaps on maybe leasing a vehicle. And I don't know if Doug was correct in saying that we're going to purchase a vehicle. Maybe you could clarify that for me. Are we going to lease or purchase? I guess I could save it for the town meeting, but.
We looked at options of both outright purchase and lease on the advice of, I think, finance director or us themselves. The finance director and some of the auditing issues that are involved. She recommended against the lease, so our recommendation to the Board of Finance was for an outright purchase, and the Board of Finance approved it that way.
Chris, if I may,
Yeah.
also the windfall in a revenue line item?
Oh,
That was
right,
unexpected?
Right. There is an unexpected item of revenue that is anticipated, it's been billed, it's not come in yet. And based on that, we felt it was better to get it all in this fiscal year when there appears to be a little bit of a windfall coming our way, than to push it off into other years. So that's why the decision was made. For the
More
outright
input, to
purchase.
follow up on what Gail said, I attended the last police commission meeting. I asked that the chairman and the chief of police address specific questions, and you should have an email there that I've asked you to read in the correspondence, so public input. I get no response. The questions were, under this space study, is the architect considering repurposing, which is a new buzzword, repurposing some of the abandoned buildings here in town? No response. I also asked the chief of police for the exact number on where the budget stood. No answer. I'm lodging an official complaint with all three of you that we need responses from each of the boards. We need our questions answered. And the days where we just give a synopsis, well, everything's under control, has to stop. I've even approached the two other selectmen and said, geez, maybe you should be reading all of these reports that you say, oh, well, everybody's got it. We know nothing about it, but you're up there reading and passing. I think we need to become a little bit more progressive. We need to include the people in the Town of Windsor Locks in the decision-making. And that's what I have to say on that, Chris.
Thank you. Is there any other public input? Mr. Glazier?
Yes. Again, going on to the senior center, I just happened to think, and I want to make this a suggestion, and again, I emphasize the suggestion only. At the February 6th public hearing about the senior center, everyone said they wanted one floor. That was said throughout. They wanted one floor. I'm just suggesting, try not to be adamant on one floor only. Think about a second floor. The reason is that the square footage you're going to have is going to be about a quarter of an acre. If you have 2 floors, it's going to be half that area. You won't have to walk as far. Someone at the senior center, they're at one spot and they're going to say, well, they got an event going down over in the opposite diagonal corner. They said, that's too far to walk. That's what's going to be happening. They're going to miss out on things. So I'm saying, don't be opposed to a second floor. The second floor got a bad name because we had that elevator downtime. I understand that. But those are mechanical things. Mechanical things do fail. But the thing lasted for, what, 40 years before it had that long downtime. So be open to a second floor, because your footage area will be half the size if it was only one level. You'll have a lot less walking. You'll still have at least the same number, or you could even have more building rooms and so forth for events. Thank you very much.
They built it with an escalator.
Is there any other public input? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is approval of the February 4th and the February 10th, 2020 Budget Workshop Special Meeting, and the February 4th regular meeting. Why don't we do the special meetings maybe as one motion, and then, or whatever your preference is.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 4th Budget Workshop Special Meeting, approve as written.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the February 4th regular meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, what about the February 10 Budget Workshop?
Oh, I missed that. I apologize. I'll make a motion to approve the February 10th Budget Workshop meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor? Thank
Aye.
you. That motion, all three carry, 3-0. The next is correspondence. Oh, yes. I think this is under correspondence. The issue regarding the light at the intersection of Elm Street and Southwest Avenue. We got a response to our letter to the Department of Transportation. It says, "We are receipt of your letter dated January 22nd, 2020 concerning the subject project. It is our understanding that the Town of Windsor Locks previously agreed to the ownership and maintenance of this traffic signal after completion of the 30-day test period as documented in traffic investigation report. Therefore, the town is now responsible to own and maintain this signal. If you have any questions, call." I sent a response on the 14th. That was February 10th. On the 14th, I sent a response. "Thank you for your letter of February 10, 2020 regarding the above listed traffic signal in Windsor Locks. It did not answer my question, however, regarding an estimate of the annual cost of maintenance for the new traffic signal. I'm enclosing a copy of my response dated January 22nd to Mohammed Pishtawi as reference. This information is especially important for us to know for budgeting purposes, as the new signal seems to have many more components than the one that was previously in that location. Thank you for your attention." So that's kind of where we are. They saying, well, as we told you, you own it, and you guys got to fix it or maintain it. And they had estimated $500 to $1,500 per year as maintenance costs, and I was seeking to pin them down to that number. They avoided that answering that question. So I reminded them that they still owe me an answer to that question. Because if it turns out, because this is some, much more technologically advanced signal than the one was there, and we have $15,000 to $20,000 a year at maintenance, then they're certainly not going to hold us through any commitment to maintain it. Or at least we would not go down without a fight in that regard. So that's where we are. Any questions on that matter? I think that's it for correspondence. Let me just double check. I think the next thing is, that'll come in under the travel lodge. That's from the police department. Okay, that brings us to old business, senior center study. So my understanding from the public hearing, the general sentiment of people there is that we should have a space needs analysis performed as well as a site assessment, and we should include in the site assessment as many of the sites that were suggested at the public hearing. I think there was, going from memory, not my notes, but of course the 52 Church Street site, Southwest Avenue in the area around Southwest Apartments, Spring Street where the daycare used to be, the IPC location. What's the others? Anyone remember?
Yes. Mike Bracken.
Oh, Barbara Drive, thank you, Barbara Drive. We would suggest those to the reviewer. I contacted the architect that we're currently working with on our public safety facilities analysis, Jakunski Humes. Brian Humes is the specific architect. I reviewed their portfolio, and they specialize in the design of all public buildings, and I saw within their portfolio several senior centers. So I asked them if there would be an ability to expand our existing contract with them to do the space needs analysis for the senior center, as well as a site assessment for the senior center and potentially concept plans on the individual sites. Basically the same contract that we have with the public safety facilities. Personally, I've been very impressed with the quality of his work up to this point, so I started there. He did come back, and I believe I forwarded it to the other selectmen, but basically he's willing for $20,000. He would be willing to do that similar evaluation, just expand the contract that he has. Because I also mentioned to him that there's a possibility that if we bond this, we would wrap this all into the same bond package. So I kind of did emphasize the need to get it done quickly, to get it done, so that we're sort of on a par with the public safeties in terms of time. So that was one opportunity that we have. And then if we choose to do that, then the question becomes, do we try and fund it in this fiscal year, or do we put it in as a capital request for next fiscal year? So I'm open to suggestions and ideas on that.
So I'd like to have a committee established to look at the issue of the senior center. And I would suggest that maybe Anne Marie Claffey as the senior director, citizen director, Rosemary Hogan Cunningham, because she's the CONA chairman. I think we should have maybe 3 active members from the senior center, have 2 at-large members, and a member of the Board of Selectmen sit on this exploratory committee. I think this committee should come together. They should discuss what took place at the public hearing. I think we can put forward the fact that we have this firm that is available for this study, but I think the committee should look at it and say, this is what we want to do, and then come to us with the request that we put it before the Board of Finance and move together. So, and I'd like the committee formed within the next 2 weeks, so that at the next Board of Selectmen meeting, we're definitely appointing members and that they can get to work right away. I don't think that's an extremely long period of time. I think if that committee came together fairly quickly and discussed the fact that we need a feasibility study right away, that should be their first order of business, then they come back. And I don't want to take things away from this committee. I'd like to give them some responsibility for looking at the issue and then coming back to us with a plan.
Can I just have the rundown of who your suggested members was?
Yeah, so I think Anne Marie Claffey, I think a representative of Kona. It doesn't have to be the chairperson. It could be a representative of Kona from the Kona board. I'd say, and I was just coming up with 10 people, so
Right.
I came up with 3 active members of the senior center.
Well, there's not membership in the senior center.
Well, there are people that are very, very active in the life of the senior center, and they know who they are, but I don't.
So people who regularly attend senior
Either regularly
center
attend or volunteer at the senior center, so they
Okay.
understand what goes in there every single day, or what goes on there.
That's
I
fine.
would not be qualified to do that, because while I've been in there, I don't really use everything that's in there. But I know there are people that volunteer extensive period of time. I think.
That's 5?
Yep, I'd like a couple of at-large community members. They don't have to be senior citizens. They are younger people that might look towards the future a little bit, maybe give us some different viewpoint. And I think a member of the Board of Selectmen, so would that be 10?
That's 8, I think.
That's 8.
8, so you could come up with, I thought I had more, but that's what I came up right before the meeting.
Would you want a Board of Finance member?
Maybe a Board of Finance member, Chris, you think?
Okay with me.
Because this way they see what's coming
That's
down the
9.
pipe.
That would be 9.
That's 9.
9's
so
better
that'd
than
be a
10.
member.
Yeah.
9's better.
Okay, I mean, I think that might do it, and that would get that going, but I'd like to get the word out that we're looking for these volunteers. I don't know how we do that. We could post at the senior center, we could post at the library, we can get it on our website. I know there's social media people that will spread the word around. I think it would move around fairly quickly. I'd like the names to come into your office, somehow come to your office by at least the Friday before our next meeting, and then at the next meeting, we could appoint the committee and they could get going. They could elect their own chairman and then move forward.
Scott, could I ask a question? Would that be to?
No,
I
so
don't think
we have
so. I
order,
think we're
please.
gonna get-
Well,
So at the.
point of clarification though.
Order, please.
Okay.
Are you making a point of order?
Okay, but a point of clarification,
No.
you made a statement whether it should be
All
included
right,
in this year's
it's
budget.
not a point of order or procedural matter, so then we will have to move on. So, could we, if we generally agree that the study should be moved forward, could we as a board get that moving, but then go with the committee so that the committee is in place in time to receive the results and analyze it? I mean, it just seems that, isn't it likely that that's where it's gonna go anyway? And then we not lose the time?
Yeah, I was gonna add in, I think we wanna do a couple things. I do like the idea of the committee.
Yeah,
I also wanna move forward with going to the Board of Finance. And the reason I was looking at my phone, and I couldn't find it, it's probably buried in emails. I thought it was 9,400, but if you're saying it was 20 grand for the,
Yeah, I think.
I thought it
it's
was
a lot
90,
less.
I thought it was
Oh,
9,400.
20 grand sounded like.
And that's what I was
a lot.
looking for, I couldn't find it, so
I thought it
the
was
study
more like
from that,
$10,000.
from that firm was 9,400.
Mix and apples and oranges.
So I would like to do 2 steps, because I think both steps are very important. One, that committee, but also seeing if the Board of Finance, and I'll say this publicly in front of all of you, that if the motion moves forward and we go to the Board of Finance, we would like you to show up and lobby that they should fund the 9,400 this year, and let's not wait until July 1st of the next budget year and and see if they even fund it in next year's budget. So if those motions go forward tonight, we'll find out tonight that we all need to show up at that Board of Finance meeting and lobby to get that 9,400 or whatever the price is. I thought it was 9,400, to get that price so we can, A, hire the firm. Two, get this committee formed. The firm and the committee work hand in hand, and hopefully we can start moving this thing forward. And they're all looking for the email, I couldn't find it in mine.
Yes,
Oh, you know what, maybe it's my other.
yeah, so he said would it be possible I could get you a contract amendment? I would assume a 20,000 effort as follows: needs assessment 5,000, excuse me, site assessment 2,000, schematic design 8,000, professional cost estimate 5,000. So
The only thing I have, guys, is that I don't want to take away from the committee what they want to see from this site assessment. You understand? I mean, we're defining the terms of the study as opposed to the committee defining what they want and what they need to move forward. That's the only, Chris, that's the only thing I'm suggesting, and I don't want to take away from this committee, I want to empower this committee.
So what if we move forward on the request to fund it, but we don't sign a contract to him and tell him to get started until he's had the specifics of his charge laid out by the committee? We know what approximately we need, we go to the Board of Finance with an up to figure, and then we let the committee define their charge and define the charge of the engineer so that they can move forward the way they want to. It turns out that what they want causes a change in price.
Well,
then we have to go, we have to come back and,
at least, I just don't want to take away from the committee.
And I agree with you, Scott. I mean, the reason why I wanted to also try and move that portion forward is you gotta go to the Board of Finance. They'd have to approve it, it has to come back to us, we'd have to set a town meeting. So you're weeks and weeks and weeks, and by then we'll have the committee formed.
Good, we can get the committee formed, we can go to the Board of Finance, we can look at the money, you know, if you look at that as an estimate and then go, let the committee do its thing, and then come back with a recommended plan. And give them a time frame too, I don't know what the time frame would be, but.
So, should we, and then in some way publicize between now and our next meeting that we're seeking a committee composed of the list that we have, and ask them to contact Sue with,
and then
expressing their interest.
And then we'll have
the list, and we go through, we
just go through, yeah.
All right, we got a motion? Do
I have to repeat all of that, or
Yes,
Brendan, did you
you
get it?
definitely do. Yeah, needs to be clear, Scott. The public would like to know what the motion is.
Go ahead. I move that we establish a committee to explore and study the building of a new senior center. That committee to consist of the director of the senior center, a representative of Kona, 3 active citizens within the senior center. That could be volunteers, that could be people who attend and use their facilities. 2 at-large members, a member of the Board of Selectmen, and a member of the Board of Finance. That would be your 9, correct? Okay, and that, we established the committee at the first meeting.
Let's just do that in one motion, okay?
So I'll second that motion.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
So then the
Motion
next.
carried.
Yep.
I
So the
assume
next.
Scott's vote.
Yeah, I made the motion. So we're gonna, so then the next motion would be to.
Before you start that next motion, because this will be a committee and they will have meetings, you're probably gonna want a recording secretary. You know, because the way I see this meeting is they could meet in this room or any other room and public input would weigh in and stuff like that. So I think when you make your next motion, or maybe I can, but I like when you make them, we want the 20,000 plus, we would want the recording secretary fee as well. 200 for recording secretary?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many hours they're gonna have, but
Well, they get paid per meeting.
65 a meeting, so maybe we better do.
What do we have in the budget? Do we have something for recording? What was that?
Well, that was for different, not for this particular one.
No, I agree.
5 meetings.
For the members of the public, this is a quasi-municipal agency. This is an agency under FOI, so it needs to be posted. You need to run your meetings by an agenda, and there has to be minutes. As you will find out if you attend our FOI session